Viewers, in fact, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu has also said it is their attack on the Hezbollah which has led to the end of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria. This after 50 years of civil war that led to a tyrannical regime across the country. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the collapse of Syria is a direct result of the forced action on Hezbollah. He adds that it is an end to the tyrannical regime in Syria led by the Assad family for over 50 years now. There's a lot of protests taking place and a lot of uncertainty in Syria following news that Bashar has fled to Moscow. We're getting in all sorts of reactions. Let's take a look. Let's listen in to what Benjamin Netanyahu had to say on the whole issue.
This is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression. But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. The Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and a peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, that's our desire. But if we do not, we'll do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of Israel.
I welcome the fact that Assad has gone. The Syrian people had to put up with his brutal regime for far, far too long. We're talking to regional allies. It's very important now that there's a political settlement, a political way forward, and it's very, very important that we emphasise that civilians and minorities must be protected in this process. But very, very pleased that Assad has fallen.
Es kommt jetzt darauf an, dass Syrien schnell in Recht und Ordnung leben kann und dass Recht und Ordnung dort hergestellt werden. Dabei müssen alle Religionsgemeinschaften, alle Volksgruppen und Minderheiten Schutz genießen. Allen Syrerinnen und Syrern muss ein Leben in Würde und Selbstbestimmung möglich gemacht werden. Daran werden wir die nächste syrische Regierung messen.
Viewers, I'd like to welcome J.K. Tripathi, the former ambassador who's joining us live from Greater Noida, and Dr. Shubhra Chaudhary, who's also joining us. She's the founder of the Middle East Insights platform, and she's joining us live from Delhi. A very good morning to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Tripathi, I'd like to come first to you. Following this, we're learning today that, it's likely that Bashar has fled to Moscow. We're getting global reactions with Benjamin Netanyahu, Joe Biden, and a lot of other global leaders as well chiming in. What can we expect right now for the Indians who are in Syria? This is after the MEA has said that the mission in Damascus is operational, but what about the safety so far? What do we know?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to join your channel. As far as I know, there are only about 90 Indians living in Syria, and all of them are in regular touch with the embassy there, and embassy has confirmed that everybody is safe. There is no, no harm had been committed against them so far, but embassy has advised the Indians living there to not travel unnecessarily, not go out, not venture out of their houses unnecessarily, and remain in touch with the embassy. In such cases, if if situation requires, if situation worsens, then certainly a rescue operation or the deportation sort of operation is conducted by the embassy. Since the number is very small, it won't take much time for the embassy to conduct this operation and rescue the Indians living there very safely. So situation, we will see how situation evolves. And now that the Prime Minister of Syria, who has been named caretaker Prime Minister, has already appealed to all, even the forces, Syrian forces, the defense forces, to obey the orders of the government or the leaders that are now the present leaders. That is basically Hayat Tyrannical Sam. So I don't think the situation will worsen and there will be a need to carry out this rescue operations for the Indians living there. Yes, Priyanka.
Right, Mr. Tripathi. Right now, I'd like to bring in Dr. Chaudhary as well. Dr. Chaudhary, help us understand really, because Syria has been sort of ravished with a lot of civil unrest for a while now. This is also likely to impact its Middle East partners. So how is that likely to impact the larger political landscape of Middle East as of now? What do you reckon?
Good morning, Priyanka. And couple of things are happening as of now. HTS, which is governed, it's an umbrella faction, but it is governed by Abu Muhammad Jalani, who is basically from Golan Heights. He has a 10 million reward designated as a foreign terrorist by US. Now, HTS has been in back-channel diplomacy talks with the Syrian caretaker prime minister. It has been talking with Russia, it has been talking with Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, and within Syria, it is talking with the factions of Ismailis, the Alawites, Druze community. Now, I'll tell you what all the players are complicating the situation as of now. Yesterday, US had 75 airstrikes against ISIS in Syria. Israel, as you saw, Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that they're offering the olive branch of peace to the Druze community, to the Armenians, to the Ismailis, but he did not mention the word Syrians in the peace offering. Syria yesterday has invaded 14 kilometers of the buffer zone of Golan Heights, got into Quneitra, got into other towns of Al-Qadaniya and others. It bombed the Al-Mazeh airport of near Damascus, and it is continuing in the name of self-defense to bomb Syria as we speak. Turkey's President Erdogan now says openly that there are only two because Syria is in the southwestern part of, Israel is on the southwestern part of Syria, Turkey is in the northern part. So Erdogan is saying that only two presidents are very important right now. One is Putin and the other is him. Joe Biden is taking the entire credit because he wants to leave a legacy. He has only, the days are marked. And at the same time, Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, he is going to address on December 11th and talk about how Iran is going to react to this. As of now, the Shia community in Syria is also very scared of HTS. And they are again going back to Lebanon. A lot of refugees are going back, Syrian refugees are going back to Lebanon. The situation is getting worse and it is very, very complicated. Yes, HTS has released a lot of prisoners. If you look at what condition the prisoners were there in the Sadnaya Red Wing slaughterhouse in Damascus, it is heart-wrenching. But at the same time, Jolani's rhetoric has changed. His rhetoric from yesterday, day before yesterday, has changed. Will the minority communities in Syria, be it the Kurds, the Ismailis, the Christians, the Armenians, the Alawites, will they be safe under HTS? Will an armed rebel group have the power to democratically govern? Are we looking into another Taliban-like situation emerging in Syria? I would not say that Libya or other aspects. But yes, the other important part is that yes, Moscow gave asylum to Bashar al-Assad and his family. But his younger brother, Maher al-Assad, who is the head of the military intelligence, no one knows where he is. No one really knows. Iran says Assad was a liability. The Iranian foreign minister recently said. Now the situation is getting even worse. Russia initially said that yes, HTS is a terrorist operation. But now they have changed the rhetoric to armed opposition. So back-channel diplomacy is currently going on. But if you look from the humanitarian perspective of so many Syrian refugees in Turkey, in Jordan, in Lebanon, the question is, will they be able to come back to a democratic Syria? It is chaotic and the entire mayhem continues. Every regional agent is trying to milk it in their own favor. And the different factions in Syria will continue to destabilize it, irrespective of the dreams and the aspirations of so many Syrians who are now being released. But it is all going to get very chaotic with so many regional actors now involved in Syria.
That's right, Dr. Chaudhary. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much, Mr. Tripathi, as well, for sharing your inputs on how the Syria unrest is likely to play out and impact its Middle East partners. We'll be tracking the story and details throughout the day, so stay tuned on that.